Howdy, Dr. Matt here. So I still think, what in the world was I thinking? I wish I had more knowledge, more understanding about health and things that affect our health. But my junior year of college, I took a couple summer school classes. I was staying on campus, and in doing so, basically I had to cook and make all my food in the dormitory kitchen area, which is very teeny. Essentially consisted of a little mini stove, a microwave, and a little teeny refrigerator, because the cafeteria really wasn't open. So crazy. I don't know why I did this, but I think you would think a pre-med student who's majoring in health and exercise science has already read a bunch of books on health and natural stuff, right? Would know better, but I did not know better. And I would warm up my food that was sitting in a plastic Tupperware. It's actually like not even hard plastic, it was like soft plastic. I'd warm it up in the microwave every single day. And little did I know, I was loading up my system just with caustic plastic chemicals, and the byproducts of plastic chemicals. And I would reuse the same container over and over again. I was putting these substances into the air. I was putting them into my mouth. They were literally permeating my food. And I can still see the softness of that plastic with my food items that I'd placed in there before putting them in a microwave. Now I don't use microwaves, now I don't use plastic. But, I think, what were you thinking, Matt? I think about this fairly regularly. It's crazy. But thankfully, I was only in this summer school program for like 6 weeks. And then, the classes were done, we could move on. But I have no doubt, if I had checked my urine for plastic metabolites or checked my blood for like excess estrogen or maybe my testosterone levels, I would find that they would not be in the ratios I'd wanted to be. And I probably have a whole lot of these different plastic chemicals in my urine. And then I would have known, Matt, that is why you got to think next time. So these days I make every effort to minimize plastic exposure when it comes to food inputs, heating foods, what foods are stored in. I've seen it be a huge player amongst patients with estrogen imbalance for women and estrogen excess for men, testosterone levels being an issue for men as well. And there's no doubt plastics are abundantly useful, but like so many things that are overwhelmingly increasing in our environment and are making life more convenient, there's going to be a dark side. Unfortunately, there's going to be a dark side, and that dark side, it can really impair our health, make so that our daily living as well as our long-term health are really hampered. So consider your own life, all the places that plastic materials, polymers, might come in contact with you, and it can be pretty surprising. We talk about, say, frozen meals, like peanut butter, almond butter jars that are in plastic, yogurts, the inner coating of milk cartons, the inner lining of paper cups, coffee cups. It's a big one because hot coffee going into paper cups with the inner plastic lining, water bottles, your French fry container, your shower curtains, shrink wrap, deli meat wrap, packaging on your furniture. Plastics get around, not to mention our water bottles. Did I mention water bottles? Across the board, if the item you're consuming does not require cool storage 100% of the time, say like a dairy product that has to be in a cool container all the time, then if that's not happening start to finish, I really would make a 100% liberation from it if it's a food substance, because that's, that doesn't matter if that substance get warm, if nobody cares, it doesn't change its structure, taste kind of thing, then there's high chances it's sitting in 100-degree warehouses and just warming. And heat and time are the main promoters of plastic transfer into our food supply, into our water. And we don't want it to be lasting in there too long, and we don't want it to be getting heated, right? So if I see someone with a water bottle that they're pulling out of the back of their trunk, I'm just like, oh my goodness, don't do that. Because, there's that is just like death water. And if less I'm at an imminent death, There's no way I'm drinking water out of a plastic bottle that's been sitting, in somebody's car, in their trunk, because it's been heated, how many times that the plastic, it's like it's been melted into that water. So same thing goes for water bottles that are just out there sitting on grocery shelves, soda pops, grocery shelves, and plastic. How long has it been there? So why are plastics non-essential for humans and in fact terrible for us? Well, plastics are especially detrimental to the hormonal system, to the endocrine system, which is like your pituitary gland, your thyroid, your adrenals, your ovaries, your testicles. They disrupt the ability of our body to properly metabolize, especially estrogen, as well as testosterone, and really the whole litany of hormones. Detoxification, clearance is downgraded, and many people can end up with excess estrogen activity, which pretty much across the board is not good. So you can see if you're a man and your libido is shot, your motivation is lost, and you feel like you're just aging at a rapid pace. Where's my testosterone at? I lost it. I need to get my levels checked, right? Well, it could be that you're aging way too fast because the estrogen is dominating, and in an estrogen dominant state, we're going to become fatty and not loaded down with muscle tissue. And this is all the effects of plastics in our life. And if you're a female and you're gaining weight, having unreasonable menstrual cycles, way too much cramping, way too much bleeding, PMS, all that kind of stuff, maybe acne showing up, brain fog, you're feeling like you're just becoming sensitized to your environment, like, man, it's like I'm reacting to everything. Maybe like heard of multiple chemical sensitivity. Maybe it's the plastics that are emanating, that are prominent in your life. And it should also be noted that the more fat tissue you have on your body, the more you're going to house these plastic chemicals, and your body's going to just slurp them up. So that's where we store the plastics. That's why the more fatty tissue you have on you, the more junk you're going to store in your fat cells, and as you get rid of that fatty tissue, that junk's going to come out of you, and you need to make sure you're supporting that detoxification process. All right, back to the story. So women tend to be much more susceptible to plastics because of the nature of their life, of your life, if you're a female. And that is, beauty products, that's the personal care products, personal hygiene products, tampons. These have a ton, unless you're getting some really, really, really special organic, natural stuff, a ton of plastics and plastic derivatives in them. So watch out for those. But I want to tell you a story about a gentleman. So he came in the office, low libido, decreased motivation, thinking, man, can I get my testosterone levels checked? I think I need testosterone replacement therapy. I'm 50 years old, and I'm just not feeling it. And I'm all about that. Let's get you feeling awesome, right? So we check his testosterone levels. Whenever we check testosterone, especially in guys, I always check their estrogen levels, because estrogen and testosterone need to be in balance for you to feel optimal. And if a guy has low testosterone levels and you don't check their estrogen levels, then you don't really know if potentially their testosterone is just low because they're not producing very much, or if it's low because they're turning a bunch of that testosterone into estrogen via the aromatase enzyme. So we check estrogen levels and testosterone levels, especially in cases where the libido is low and motivation, all of that's not at its best, because a bunch of estrogen is going to cause all those symptoms, just like a low testosterone would. And it's also important when helping yourself in your own health to make sure that you or your doctor, you're looking upstream and you're looking downstream when we're talking about hormones, because otherwise you're going to see my estrogen's high, just stop the estrogen production. My testosterone's low, just give me testosterone. My progesterone's low, just give me progesterone. My DHA is low, just give me DHA. As opposed to looking and saying, like, potentially, why is that happening? All right, so in this gentleman's case, he's got low libido, he's got low motivation, he thinks it's gotta be low testosterone. We're gonna do this blood test, my testosterone's gonna come back low, and then you're gonna prescribe me testosterone, and I'm gonna feel like I'm 25 again. So we get the labs back, and the labs showed that his testosterone levels are reasonable, definitely not optimal, but reasonable. And the real problem was his estrogen levels. They were way too high. This was a real fit guy. He eats great food, just real regimented, strength trains 4 or 5 times a week, has a great sleep cycle. I mean, he really takes care of himself, generally loves life, great outlook, not too excessively stressed. But when estrogen is high and you're a guy, life could be a whole lot better than it is right now. So get this. When he came in, his estrogen level, or his estradiol levels, what we call E2 estrogen, was at 99. And his estrone levels, called E1, came back at 192. These are way, way too high. It should be like 25. He was getting like in the female hormone range. And his testosterone level came back at 471, which is, just kind of like mediocre. And so for a guy like him, living the lifestyle he was living, I would expect that his testosterone would be like 800 and his estrogens would be like I said, 20, 25. So I talked to him about, man, what is going on here? You taking like some hormone stuff on the side, doing some drugs or what? And we came to find out, man, his plastic exposure was through the roof. It's kind of like everybody else, but he was drinking, 4 to 6 water bottles a day from plastic. He was using coffee with that inner lining of plastic every single day, a couple times, actually like twice a day. And he would pack all his lunch every single day and his breakfast in this plastic Tupperware. Then he, heat it up, and he's doing this day in and out, day in and day out, week after week, month after year after year. And thankfully, this guy was super compliant. So I was like, you got to get rid of that stuff. That's crazy. We got to get this plastic out of your life. And we'll recheck in like 3 months. So he got like a stainless steel water bottle, a stainless steel coffee cup, mug, and got rid of all of that plastic, got himself some Costco, glass Tupperware, and, just to greatly reduce his plastic exposure. And so get this. 3 months later, we recheck his testosterone levels. Thankfully, he is so compliant, he just gets after it. And checked his estradiol, his estrone levels, and guess what? Do you think he did better? You think he did worse? So I talked about his estrone, that E1, right? So it was at 52 3 months earlier. It was at 192 3 months earlier, and now it was down to 52. And his estradiol levels was at 99 3 months earlier, and now it's down to 29. Both these ranges are actually considered normal now. And his testosterone went from 471 up to 668 in 3 months. The only thing this guy did, nothing else, he's, like I said, he's very regimented. He just kept doing all these good things he's doing for himself. The only thing he did was clear out a bunch of plastic from his life. By clearing out, the coffee mugs, the plastic water bottles, the plastic containers he was storing his food in, he decreased, literally completely cut in half his estrogen levels. And guess what happens? When a guy gets his estrogen into normal range, which was really high previously, his feelings of well-being started coming back, his motivation for life, his gusto, his libido. Guess what? Symptomatically, he actually became better by doing one thing, one little itsy bitsy thing that is overlooked all the time. He just reduced basically the packaging that he's consuming his food substance in. So I hope this prompts you to take a strong look at your plastic exposure. If you're a guy, just not hacking it. If you're female and man, just not feeling my best, man, check your plastic exposure. Instead of reusing it, like we're told, reusing the plastic, just eliminate it altogether. And, often it's those little teeny itsy bitsy changes that can make for the most dramatic results. And, I could put them on, let's get you on estrogen blockers. Let's to get these levels down. Let's slow down that aromatase enzyme. Let's give you some testosterone, man. Let's raise those levels up. Because that's going to get you going. But what this guy needed, and I bet 3 months from now, 6 months from now, when we test him again, his levels are going to be even better. Because he's going to have that plastic out of his life. And he's going to feel even better because he's going to have that plastic out of his life. So I'm Dr. Matt. Please let your people know to check their plastics, check their estrogens if you're not feeling well, gentlemen. And just because it's convenient doesn't mean that it's going to be the best thing for our being. So please like, share, hit that subscribe button. Man, let's get this inspiration, this understanding out to as many people as possible, and make sure, people aren't, under living because of convenience. They're eating awesome, but yet plastic is all around them, and they didn't even realize it. He didn't realize it. He was happy to change. All I had to do was say, hey, let's switch this up. Let's get this off your body. He switched it up, got it off his body. Next thing you know, 3 months later, he's feeling so much better. And his levels objectively vouch for the fact that, the plastics were playing a big deal for him. All right, talk to you guys later.